So the photonic, full spectrum photonic light has energetic properties, and so it's sort of like taking a shower, and it clears all the charges off your body, and it's also pretty, and gives you the feeling of infinite perspective, and and it's sort of pretty.
Yeah.
And it feels good. So you feel the light.
Spontaneous healing.
Yeah, right. Feel the light, and it's also an energetic activation. So we have a lot of different videos and stills and things of like people where I also project sacred geometry on the chakras, and then we have things where people experience pain relief and healing or even psychological. It's an encouraging catalyst for people with different kinds of addictions or insecurities. It makes them feel like they owe something, they've had an experience, and that gives them a fresh start. So we have even people that have, been alcoholics for decades, or PTSD, soldiers with PTSD, and
I know somebody else is PTSD too.
yeah, and it seems like it
covers it.
Yeah, well, it's both. It's an encouragement for also the people to heal themselves, because they feel like, oh, I've had a little boost. This is something. I have a fresh start. I have an opportunity. And then there's real biophotonic stimulation that also is happening. The photons going through your body, and what we call sonic photonic resonance, which is the interaction between light and sound. And also the fact we tend to understand the resonance of sound, but light also has resonance. And so lasers and the opportunity to experience it in a unique setting like this seems to have very encouraging effects on people. Look at you, look at Bliss. He's all like, look at
I'm
Bliss.
so happy you get to share it, and this amazing videographer is filming you. That's what's putting me in bliss right now.
Yeah.
I'm seeing great collaborations.
Great.
That's cool.
Amazing.
So it's also relaxing. So I also do like visual music performance, where I actually play imagery with music, and then also do what I call like light sculptures for environmental experiences, or concerts, or special events, corporate parties.
And you did all kinds of movies, like
Oh, I did do some major movie. I didn't even talk about that. How did you know?
You told me so many interesting things. I'm like, everyone has to meet you.
Yeah, I did do some major movies, and
Which movie
I
did
did.
we ask?
So, I haven't thought about this in a while here. So, I'm trying to think. He was with Denzel Washington, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's been a while ago. It was a while ago. But I did do a whole series of movies. I can tell you. I just haven't thought about it in so long. But now I'm really curious. Can't figure what they are. I haven't thought about it in so long. It's interesting. I ran away from that stuff. Because it's like I could do it now again, but all those things and music videos, we're gonna do that again now. But it's sort of like I call it a runaway train. You get on and you're on a runaway train. You can't get off until the project is completed, and that can be fun, but also it can be
Time-consuming.
yeah,
And all that.
yeah.
And try to do
So,
other things at the same time.
yeah,
It's kind of hard to multitask.
yeah. Yeah.
One's not complete. It's not
Yeah.
complete.
So, and then also you would think these big multi-million dollar projects would be really well organized and stuff,
And
but
really
it's not.
not.
Yeah, last minute everything's like,
It's kind of like Todd Perry. Once one cut and you're done.
yeah, yeah.
Everything's just complete.
Or little
Like,
things
boom,
like
boom, 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 boom.
advertising
He wants
and
everything
things like that, product
fast.
promotion. That's what I was talking about here and stuff like that. And then I'm interested really in doing informational kinds of things too. So creating experiences that have an impact on people. And so the laser is sort of an entree. Also, you know what else is? I've always wanted to do, since I found out the rehab capabilities of do some of the, you know, like the Malibu, different kinds of treatment centers. To also same thing, going and do. So I've been thinking of that. So I want to do things that heal and that are purposeful. And yeah, I'm into entertainment and people partying and dancing and music videos. But I really feel that there needs to be purposeful action right now in the world. And so, you know, here we are, we're creative, we're free, we're living in a beautiful place by the beach and all that. And so it's a real opportunity, and we should operate with a higher sense of personal responsibility, even, especially in a time when the world is so confused and filled with such terrible inhumanity. And so this is supposed to be a humanitarian era. This is supposed to be a time when we excel and we reach our highest potential. That's what this time is supposed to be, where people use collective intelligence and knowledge of past human experience combined with innovative technologies to do things that make the world more positive and help people, help each other. And this is the time for that to happen. It's no longer a dream or a vision of the future. The future is here now.
Yes. Right here, right now.
Very well said.
So glad you're here and you have all your gifts and skills.
Alright, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. Oh, I'm 24.
Really? That's great. Jacob's 24.
Oh, okay. That's cool. That's awesome.
He's also launching like a youth site. Maybe we could showcase you and stuff too.
Nice. That's awesome.
Can you tell us more about like why this feels so incredible? Why
Well, I
this
wish
is
I could take
everywhere.
credit for it, but it's equality and quality. It's like equality. So we're just fortunate to be in an era where we're able to experience, you know, photons are part of our world, and they're unique in that they have interdimensional properties. As a matter of fact, they say that it's one of the reasons that the universe expands. They call it photonic flux. I don't really understand different dimensions. Other people claim to, but it's sort of, there's general scientific consensus now that photons travel in between dimensions, and they create an expansion by sort of like bumping into each other as they pass through the realm. And so I don't fully understand it, but this is stuff that's been that has been experienced, and so I'm trying to create sort of the resonate with some of the Merkaba kinds of contexts, and I work with spinning star tetrahedrons and toroidals, geometries that are inherent in nature, in the macrocosm and the microcosm. And so this is an era where, you know, we're not trying to manipulate. There's so many technologies and companies that are trying to manipulate reality and our experience. I'm trying to help tune in to our natural sensory capabilities and our higher perceptions, and stimulate a collective awareness and but also a sort of a greater collective community. And so this is really important in this era, that we reach our full potential and work together and be our highest state of being. And so now is the time really for this to happen. And we're the fortunate ones. And this is a window of opportunity, particularly, youth are the answer that have grown up with these new technologies. And at the same time, the youth has this sense of things going on forever, and hopefully it does. But we're also in an era where our technologies can be taken away. Everything is vulnerable. The satellite systems, the power grid. This is a time to utilize these technologies full speed ahead to implement a new paradigm for the culture, and bring technologies to the forefront that can transform the world. And this is the time to do it. This is a time to take action.
Right now. Agreed.
Of course.
Right now. Right now, we're in a 13-day
Right now.
wave spell period
Mhm.
from the 23rd until the 6th of May. It's called the Blue Eagle Wave Spell in in Jose Arguelles' calendar. And this 13-day wave spell, the invitation is to raise our vibration to the highest consciousness that we can, because the energies that are such that we can pull in the highest visions to come into manifestation is this 13-day period right now. So I'm so excited that we are having this convergence right now, and everyone has their amazing gifts and skills to bring together.
Divine association. So
Yeah.
that's also important. There's so much confusion, and so many people have different kinds of issues, and so the divine association of bringing like a coherency to our reality, and we reinforce each other's energy. And so I feel so fortunate to be here with you, and good people surrounding me is wonderful and encouraging. And so, but we need to share this blessing that we feel of that kind of communion and connection with others, and in a way that's not just woo-woo. It's all very woo-woo. I call it woo-woo. But in a way where here are things that we can do and to improve ourselves as individuals, and also to make a contribution to the world. So this is really important at this time. Oh, Bliss, you're so great.
It's so beautifully articulated. I am curious, what I was saying to Eric properly is how you go to if you go to a music show, like a rock show or whatever, they don't have light like this. The light has a different quality. So did you create this, and what makes this so special?
So what's special is, typically there's a lot of great visual experiential things happening in entertainment and concerts for sure now, beyond anything that's happened before. But it still tends to relate to a stroboscopic kind of approach. The
Laser lights, crazy.
And so that's cool and it's effective, but I'm into sort of more things that a different sort of style, more like a musical style that is transitional, transformational with the flow of the music. And then also sometimes just creating a setting, an environment that helps people experience something more deeply, and also sense each other. See, it's really a lot of the great festival experiences are because people connect with each other. And it doesn't have to be by getting really drunk or really high, or although all those things are sometimes part of the experience. Sometimes it's connecting with the nature of it, the sky, the land, And so, but all of these kinds of experiences create an environment where people have a sense of trust and sharing and feel safe. So that's really what the entertainment should now convey is create experiences and for people where they feel safe and connected, as well as having a good time.
Exactly. And it's the raising of the serotonin. Like there's a lot of things in the current paradigms that actually create entropy in the body, and when the two hemispheres of the brain work as one brain, which is the first piece, so the world is very chaotic and it tends to stimulate either the left or the right brain. When the hemispheres of the brain come together, then we can perceive a greater consciousness, and then the serotonin begins to naturally up level in the body. And serotonin is key to our multidimensionality. It's literally the gateway, because serotonin is the chemical that allows the consciousness to localize itself in time and space and know where it is. So a lot of experiences have been created to keep people's serotonin levels very low.
Wow, that's really true. So we're also living in a sort of environment where there's a lot of negative kinds of things related to various kinds of electromagnetic fields and ultrasonic vibrations being put out by different kinds of communications technologies. And not that these technologies are bad, but we're living in an era where there's, not calling for regulation, but safety standards. We're always part of the reality of bringing forth new technologies into the public sector. And so without certain safety standards, the corporate thing doesn't have a need to test. And so the fact that there's no testing at the same time that we're putting in LED lighting everywhere, changing the cabling in our power grid, it's a spiral round cable now. Things are being made by decisions of economic cost of what's cheapest without determining if there's the effect on our actual bodies. And so we're seeing a rise in people with various kinds of mental problems, people feeling angry, people killing each other, and some of it is due to this electronic smog. And we're not thinking about it, and it's not part of our awareness. And in a way, it's sort of already dominating our environment. And so this is an issue that's sort of another woo-woo kind of issue, but it's something that people need to take into consideration. Some of the things that are happening, even though they're already in place and the corporate communications entities would say, oh, we've spent billions and billions and billions already, we're not changing anything. Well, if you do something that's wrong and is poor technology, it should be modified, and irrespective of how much money they've spent. And it's not their money, they're collecting the money from people. And so, yes, we're utilizing the technology, and it's both advancing our capability, and it's also the Pandora's box that can also have negative impacts on humanity as a whole.
What is your greatest vision with like the laser and the potential for how we can use technology? And also, like, I just really want to ask both of you how you feel sitting in this. Like, did you notice the shift?
I noticed like
Sure.
personally, I noticed like a shift. It's like I like the smoke smog. It kind of makes me feel like I'm in a different environment. Like I'm not sure if there's a special like smell that makes people to change their mind, like to be in a different place or so forth. But I just feel like I'm in a different element, not like your average laser lights. And I feel like it's so three-dimensional with the shapes of the lights. I feel like you're going in, like in a way you're being abducted, but for a good cause. Pretty much.
You're being abducted.
But it's like a good halo feeling of like all these lights and turning, rotating. It feels like it clears your head, in my opinion.
So, on that note of being abducted, so cosmic connection.
I was joking.
Cosmic connection is also another part of it. Is that we are conscious beings, electromagnetic and chemical beings, which makes us sort of unique. And but we are connected to conscious life in the universe beyond our own. We now know we are not the only living beings, and we now know that there are other humanoid planets, or at least planets with the potential to have humanoid water-based planets. And we also know that many of these planets have been in existence billions of years more than we have. And so it is conceivable to think that life has developed on these planets that may be of a higher state of being than our own. And so there is a connection that we share. We have a symbiotic relationship with all conscious life in the universe. At least I believe this. And these kinds of experiences, meditation and yoga, they open our being to this kind of connection, being in nature, being receptive. And so there are those that feel that this is a time when collectively there is a raise of consciousness happening on the planet. Even in this moment where there's so much violence and cruelty beyond belief. And so, yes, we enjoy this connection and we revel in this state of being that we feel and the connection we're feeling with each other. And at the same time, it's important to take pragmatic, practical action in the real world, because if there's ever a time when it's needed, and if there has ever been a population in the world that is ready to take responsibility to making the world a better place and saving the planet and protecting life, we're that generation, and you're that generation. And so this is a time to really activate consciousness, and thus also to call upon all people of all ages, but particularly youth, particularly the young and the free and the fortunate. And here we are in living, there are many sort of islands of creative freedom and consciousness raising around the world, and people have to act as an activist force. It can't just be all the crazy, violent, hating people being a force. We have got to be the force for good.
And it's so, I mean, I felt it out on the boardwalk today. I felt like something is happening right now. I felt it so strong today. And I felt like the collective is being pulled farther away from what you're saying. I experienced it today.
By so many things.
Yeah.
And yes, there's good times. This is a good time for a lot of people, and young people, families, newlyweds, toddlers, rebirth, renewal. At the same time, there's death and destruction and pain and disease, and so it's a bit of a paradox. You know, here we're in Venice Beach, where you also have people, you know, in their $200 leggings doing yoga outside, and there's like 15 different kinds of new sports and games, and people are happy and it's wonderful. And I say, blessings, yes, be happy, yes, it's wonderful, enjoy. And at the same time, these are the people that need to be also thinking about the world, and it's a difficult thing because the world seems so insurmountable in its chaos, and at the same time we share a common destiny, and so we can't ignore it and think because in the short term we're living in a beautiful environment or in love or having the new children. This is all, yes, family takes priority. All these things do take priority. And at the same time, because they are such a priority, we need to be operating in the real world if possible at the same time.
Agreed. We need